Hi, everyone. What I thought I'd do today is just take a few minutes to answer a question that I get a lot from the community around what is the difference really between quote unquote inbound or technical product marketing, and then what's that actually look like on the outbound or the go-to-market side of it. So I'm going to quickly share my screen. I think those of you who have watched my What is Product Marketing course, you probably seen this slide already, but I'll talk a little bit more about like what are the specific like skill sets that I think makes you a better inbound slash technical product marketer, and then what specific skill sets that make you a outbound product marketer or go to market product marketer. The first thing I'll say is this is going to be a little bit different at different companies, but this is the structure that most large companies hold: the Facebook, the Salesforce, Amazons of the world, etc. And I think you're going to start seeing, as the size of the company evolves, the product marketing team evolves as well. So usually when, product marketing first hire comes in at a company that's pretty small, they're going to be doing a little bit of everything. And so that's why, if you've heard any of my product marketing talks, I'm a big believer of ruthless prioritization and setting expectations with your management, with your team, on what you do, and more importantly, what do you not do. So what kind of person makes a good inbound or technical product marketer? I am not a good technical or inbound product marketer. I'll just say that straight up. It's not that I'm not good. It's more that I just don't have that interest. It's someone who is obviously, interested in the technical aspects of the product. Doesn't mean you have to be technical, but you really like to get into the details of when you go into this feature, what actually happens on the back end, and how does that impact other things, right? It's very closely working with product management to understand, okay, well, what are we prioritizing, and how are we bringing different features to market at what time? How are we using user feedback, or how are we using customer feedback to figure out what we should be building? A lot of it's also helping with the release process. So if you have a quarterly release process, if you have a monthly release process, when I say a release process, I'm not talking about when you actually push software, because usually in modern SaaS businesses, pushing software is daily, if not hourly, because of the beautiful thing about the cloud. But it's about when you actually communicate to your customers about those releases. So you can imagine, if you are a user of Dropbox, you don't want a daily email from Dropbox telling you about every little thing that they pushed. Rather, maybe it's a weekly, for most B2B companies, it's actually quarterly, of all the major feature releases that they put in. So if you're someone who's detail oriented, someone who really enjoys getting deep with product, if you're process oriented and you like driving that, and more importantly, you enjoy working internally. What I mean by that is most of your stakeholders are going to be internal, whether that's product management, most likely, but also design. It doesn't mean you're going to be in a cave and you're never going to work with sales or customers, but I'm just saying who your most important stakeholders are. On the outbound and on the go-to-market side, you can probably tell that's where my passion really is. It's really about being the GM, quote unquote, of a product or a business or a solution. So you're ultimately responsible for revenue, you're responsible for pipeline, you're responsible for win rate, and more importantly, you're responsible for working closely with sales, potentially customer success, and making sure that whatever product solution segment that you support is hitting its revenue targets. So for example, when I was at Marketo, I ran the enterprise product marketing team. All that means is that we literally held the same goals as the enterprise VP. So I was looking at things like, what's our pipeline? What's our win rate? How long does it take for us to close? What are our top competitors, et cetera, et cetera. So, go-to-market strategy, as you've heard me say, marketing, sales, partner, services, customer success are a big piece of that, and understanding what are the different levers that you can actually pull to be able to drive a product or solution to market. If you are someone that enjoys working with people like me, getting out on stage, being the thought leader, talking to the industry, talking to analysts, talking to sales, talking to customers, and being really the face of your product, then maybe your personality type, or maybe your interest, I should say, is more aligned to this. It doesn't mean it's more important or less important than the internal or technical role. It just is a different potentially set of skill sets, because you're the sometimes talking face or mouth, what's the right term? The face of the product, and you know, all that messaging and all that positioning that you're really working on, you're the one out there championing that. So just different career paths to take within product marketing. Like I said, at a small company, there's going to be much more overlap. The larger the company, the more delineated the roles actually begin to get. And so, you know, figure out, like I always say, what's important to you. How do you play to your strengths? And then from there, you can always pivot, right? Just because you're saying, hey, I think I like the outbound piece. And then for whatever reason, you're like, actually, I like the inbound piece better. That's okay. These aren't so different and they don't sit in such isolated caves that there's no overlap. Either way, if you want to move up in your career, I think it's good to have visibility into both of them, because ultimately, as you can tell, when you're at the head of product marketing, you have responsibility over both sets. All right. What other topics do you want to see? Comment below. Let me know. Happy to do a video and get this information out there. Bye, guys.